I wanted to make another video about today, and it was a very, very busy day today. Made my delivery, still got one more delivery to make tomorrow, and I have to go all the way across town. And I got to go visit the old downtown Carrollton. Got some fried pickles, which I know has grease, but it's once in a while it's alright to have something, something fried. I know French fries has grease, not healthy. Need to find some other substitutes, but it's hard sometimes when you're out in the streets. But a lot of mixed emotions. It's at almost 42 years old, and everything that's happened, and everything that's going to go in the future. It is such a forfeited loss. That I can't even. Nobody understands or listens to the magnitude of what greed and selfishness this was from so many people, because it does not matter in any direction that you go into. They had me slummed, guttered out in the ghettos. This was all intentional, and I can never express how they would have done to my biological father, how they would have brainwashed him, how they would have abused him to permanently condition him, if he's still alive, to how whatever that relationship is going to be, and how everyone else is going to want to represent him, and doing to my father, who raised me. And one of the things that bothered me even just a few hours ago is I was at the grocery store, and there's this little kid, like barely learned how to walk, and he stands right in front of the cart, and I'm kind of put my hands on the cart, and I'm looking at people like people think I'm dangerous and shit with a kid or nothing. But he's just a little kid, and he's just walking and learning how to walk, and he smiles. I kind of smile, and I smile at, the caretaker, transgender lady or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, Marco was about that age when my mom drop-kicked his ass. And she had already had him, There's no way that you can have a good and mental healthy state. My mother would. Maybe her twins, I think, would have a better mental state, but my mother won't. And it is hard to comprehend the evil of the suffering that she went through, because I was there to watch it, and it was all glorified with Kenneth at the radio station, and all the blacks all want to support this motherfucker and feel sorry for him. That's all this is about in Ken Cooper. They get Ken Cooper's lookalikes to behave like him, walk like him, talk like him, behave. Everything is in the spirit of Kenneth Cooper. Every fucking, at the radio station, DJ Keno, every fucking thing. The magnitude of knowing a kid is being raped, my mother's being abused, they infested and pig infested what had happened with Michael Jackson and did this to my mother and father. You do not understand how. This is why my mother behave this way, because of the fucked up. There's no way out. There's no justice. There's no one with a higher ruling of power that is going to rule down a harsh punishment to even come close about how selfish and greedy, because you always have these selfish motherfuckers. We're going to protect his homosexuality. We're going to protect. He was send his seeds over here, but he was really gay. Sarah suffered so much in their relationship. We feel sorry for her. This was, you don't understand. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a goddamn fuck. Whoever spent this money on my mother in this house, they got their fucking money more than you could ever imagine what that money was fucking worth. And it's hard because they went after her, they went after me. When we're kids, this is not a normal life. This is such a lethal persecution. You can't even. If Susanna's a fucking transgender, watch the fuck out. I'm telling you, if anybody gives a goddamn fuck, I'm telling you, you don't know what the background story to this fucking is as well. And it's, I can't even explain the forfeit loss. Like it's, I have to go to Jerusalem. Like I have, I'm going to do this education thing for my mother. I have to get this GED, but I when I'm done with that, this isn't just for me. It's to heal, hopefully, and some blessings, because this is out of my ability to want to. Because I got so restrained from the poison that this motherfucker fed me. You don't understand how smart and how ingenious I feel and understand the circumstances, how selfish and greed and self-absorbed that side of the family was, and what other strangers did. Like you're just fucking ripping my mother's ass open and her kids, and my mother was so outnumbered because they went after me at the boot camp. They went after me at so many places because Michael Jackson is on that table. That is fucking why it is caused so much attention that you don't understand that they made me look like a fucking enemy. I can't even explain to what to even come close to think of what they did to my biological father. I saw him get fucking... Miss McKinney, who was a transgender, used to cry. You could probably talk to kids that were in that class, and either people that used to be way around the corner and used to be big old fat like transgender. And I remember this kid telling me, he goes, "Yeah, that's a fucking dude." And I remember this white kid was like, "Yeah, it's a fucking dude," like he was making fun of her, like, but he was saying it in a way like that's crazy, like she's a fucking dude, yeah, dude, she's crazy. And this person was kind of kooky, and their school was filled with so many transgenders. They took over everything. You don't understand that I saw my biological father scared because he has to say, he looks like me, he doesn't he? And they said, and they made him get on the fucking phone, call the principal and saying, "I'm here to pick up my son." And you don't understand that there was all these homosexuals and transgenders that showed up to punk his ass out. Because, no, I take your fucking kids. This is what the straight man is valued at, you piece of shit. This is, homosexuals are just gay because we're gay, and we give love because of love, and we have money, and we have family. And they all fucking do that shit. And it's the brain function. They don't and so, however the world is going on with this and deals with from the beginning of time, it is such a loss of forfeit, because for the people that are very wealthy, it's very different. But it's such a, I can't even explain the forfeited loss, because you have too many people against Michaela, me, my mother. We did nothing. You're scumming these worthless pieces of shit to fucking feed your own kids and feed your own ego. And you burnt the fucking time off, and you're trying to fix everything so that when we get on this boat and when we get on this plane for our vacation to Dubois and his spas, and we have to go to a soccer game and we see this piece of shit that I really want to beat the fuck out of his ass, you stuttering motherfucker, you want to, none of that's going to work. So that's why they're doing that. And it's difficult, because it's like being sent to prison for something you didn't do. You get sent to prison for 10 or 15 years and they found out you're fucking innocent. You can't even put the magnitude of what these worthless motherfuckers, and now you want to give them a vacation and feel sorry for this motherfucker? Like, there was more than enough time in the stretch of things that if you give a shit about my fucking life, you would have helped me get a fucking good paying job, secure location, and continue that. I was being ripped open and apart. You're not going to be able to mentally function getting 40 fucking tickets on a $10 an hour, and your bosses and they're very smart. Just because you're a homosexual doesn't mean you're fucking full-blown Ku Klux Klan racist. And I know many of them that are, and we're like that. But I'm not. I leave my doors open to the mindset that I don't understand and know everything. So there is that. I always leave that I don't understand. I don't understand exactly what the fuck is going on, because there's a lot of in-deep shit. But what I do know about is concrete is the self-absorbed, is because there were just so many, the blonde and blue eyes here just give you shit. He's cowboy, he's sheriff. Sarah Cooper, feel the spirit, and they rode the red carpet for that for so many years. When somebody wants to finally take that away from them, it was all these people that gave that. It's like Hitler. The reason Hitler ended up being in his position because all these motherfuckers led him to continue doing that. It was the people around that situation. So, it's overwhelming because I'm thinking, like, my biological father, I feel sorry for you. Like, you're being scummed. The way they're training me to even approach me with that, any things about my biological father and the way all the subjects of transgenders and all this other shit being raped, my mother, is the highest levels of disrespect of mental disorder and spirituality that I ever understood of disorder. Because you don't leave this world in comfort. It is better to have lived your life with the benefits because you're going to die anyway in those comfortable situations. If somebody gave you an option, would you want to be murdered by just a fucking serial killer in the woods, or would you want to be, killed in a much lighter way, but you're going to die anyway, in a satanic ritual in some cabin far in the fucking deep forest? What would you want? The spirituality and understanding of that mentality is so more terrifying than anything else. And that separates the ability that has a sense of separation of human ability of what this impact takes on this life to the next, if there is an afterlife. That's why Sarah Cooper wants to scavenge the remains of my dead sister's soul, and has been doing that for her personal gain and for Kenneth. And that's it's all pig infested to the highest level of disrespectful spirituality, and it's all these motherfuckers that are doing it for that shit, and it's the sickness of these transgenders that are doing that shit. And for me, there was more than enough time with this circumstances. This was so sabotaging. Like, you can't even express of what my mother went through, and nobody cares. Like, they don't. It's fraud. It's lies. These people die and left over. They don't give a fuck. This wouldn't have happened to an educated person, and this would not have happened to a white person. For something so persecuting, like Nancy, who lived on the other side of the street on Jeanette Way, who used to charge at my mother. I swear to God, I saw Miguel and Diana driving a car when I was in downtown Carrollton, and I drove like another 20 yards on my scooter, keep going, because they were passing by me like this, and I looked and I noticed they saw me, and I glanced at them very quickly, and Miguel was driving the car in a blue car. But as I go about 20 yards, I see what someone is behaving like Kenneth Cooper. Kenneth Cooper at the radio station. They get somebody to look like him, somebody to do this, because they're brainwashing me. They're same brainwashing tactics that they did to my mother, they're doing to me. They are excusing a filthy piece of shit motherfucker. Well aware about what the fuck was going on and how they're calculating it and doing this and they're justifying it in front of my face with total strangers. They're doing this on purpose in the fight for this piece of shit. It's difficult because it's the magnitude of you're just so outnumbered. No matter how right and righteous I am, and how ingenious and good that I did this with the best, you're just not going to win the fight. It doesn't change the circumstances. The time is running out. Your age and the quality of who belongs to what, and what table this is, and whose clock this is, and who's living the day-to-day life and shit doesn't change the fact this is falling on my mother, Frankie, and me, and they're just squandering everything. They're not going on fucking Madison in the ass and in the mouth, putting it on camera and saying, "Then fuck you." This is about no. It's comfortable over there. Oh, it's just money and just the whites. Oh, okay. Well, it's just then you want to claim Mexican motherfucker again, you asshole. Oh, it's just because this little girl's fucking Mexican. You forgot. You didn't think about deep about that shit enough. Oh, but you don't know Spanish. Oh, but it's Spanish from another planet. Oh, yeah, and just entertainment bullshit. Like, I can't even believe these types of people even get on the fucking airwaves. It's so demoralizing. You have no idea. All the black people, because they know racism falls on their end as well over the Mexicans or the blacks, doesn't change the fact they're glorifying him for doing the favor, and they know it's a deep inside thing. It's a deep inside thing they did a favor for. I saw the lady looking at him. I mean, like, she was looking at Kenneth when I was at the Richland College, and she goes, "Yeah, exactly. You know how they do us. Yeah, you're a tough guy." Like, but she was trying to express to herself to me, like, "Oh yeah, he's one of the bad ones too." Like, it's hard because, like, you don't get your time back. What was taken away from me and what was taken away from my mother when we did nothing to deserve, and you did it in the public eye, and you continue to have your parasitical motherfuckers to do this, and you had more than enough money, people stealing. My father's a World War II veteran. This money disappeared. They're trashing my mother to keep saying that she just made bad decisions. No, you don't have any decisions, and then they're using you as a trash can. That's why my mother gave that child up to the transgenders. There is a fear. Because you're so vulnerable already, and you get here, then you have other people that do this shit, but with money and more education. But it's better than Mexico. You went back. That's the mentality of it. And it's very difficult because the psychology of whatever twins and shit they're using for switching personalities, it's very gruesome. I just don't want to feel empathy. This is so disgusting. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. No. You want to feel sorry for a goddamn motherfucker who it's hard to even understand. I don't care. Every job I go to, feed off that. That's what they're doing, coming after me. And it's just not my fault. Oh no, it's just keep things going. It's just no, fuck you, motherfucker. Paraplegic all the way, goddamn way, asshole. Like, this is not going to be an argument. So, but it gets overwhelming because, I don't have any regret. Look, as far as anybody that was stealing money, getting free money, I couldn't have had shared those experiences with these friends had somebody not spend the money for that equipment. Video games and experiences with their friends that were very incredible. There's no way that it would have ever happened. And you can only do it with the technology when you have it. It's not going to happen by imaginary and wishing things. And I enjoyed it. And the Murphy family was extremely sharing, very sharing. Richard Murphy was always sharing his games, all his video games and shit. His house is always open to kids. So much of what Jeremy Keen. But it's for me it's a difficult, tough situation because it's such a brutality. You have to understand that my mother is standing on her feet. And look, everyone has problems. Everyone goes through situations. Everyone needs money. Everyone needs this. And people got raped over here and nobody knows about it yet. We understand that, but they're stripping babies out of this fucking cow and they're fucking just beating the fuck out of them and raping them in front of you for money. They're doing this to your neighbor. They're doing this to your daughter. She fucking gets buried. They fucking raping the shit out of your fucking son. Then they start raping you. Then they start putting pressure at your job. There's the magnitude of pressure you're just they're that's why they're doing it all in teams, because you're going to crumble, and then they're going to say, yeah, we had a helper, she didn't know what was going on, and Hector was just arguing. Ken Cooper and Sarah Cooper, yeah, a Medal of Award for Kenneth Cooper and Madison. It's like, what the fuck? Like, if you look at the perspective of understanding that how large Ken Cooper is compared to Sarah Cooper, you understand how large you are to how small Sarah is, to how vulnerable you think you're protecting her and all this other bullshit. How do you think that little boy feels is sitting in the fucking corner? How do you think my mother feels Ken Cooper's talking to my mother, or Sarah is doing, or Kenneth is doing too? Oh, because now they're using her twin to come at me to protect Kenneth. Like, it's so beyond anything that this is why I tell... I pray, I hope Michaela and my biological father's still alive. I just hope the best, especially for Michaela. My biological father's really old now, if he's still alive. You have no idea the things that we're having behind the scenes, that they sewed in what your life was going to be from the very beginning. You had no idea how persecuted these fucking parasitical motherfuckers were. This is a fucking wagon to put whatever you want in your cart and walk off with it, because they didn't want it to go to me. Like, my mother's having to fuck a gay man who can't get an erection, who's not an attractive looking guy, that's fucking 60 years old, and you're fucking 30 years old. It's horrific. For you to throw that shit out to me, and of all this public, it's been happening for so long and so intense that all I can do for it is just give the prayer, go to Jerusalem, get this GED, and not focus on anything else, because there's so much that I want to do that I'm defenseless. I mean, I'm offensively, I can't do anything with what I really feel like doing, and crushing down on setting some laws, laying the law down, because you fucking motherfuckers, there's no Christmases and Thanksgiving here. You think that it was just normal before you showed up, and what they're doing to my mother, like my own family. Like, we met Michael Jackson. It's nothing but money over there. We don't get anything from this. There couldn't have been probably anyone better that Michael Jackson could have met, and he went that way, and we went this way, and that was it. We didn't play his music. We didn't have posters. We didn't talk about him. There was nothing. You went about your life and your business. You did your token, and that was it. There was no fucking anything. Frankie's getting his ass ripped up. And fucking, my father, I don't believe, was an evil person by wanting to fuck my mother, even though he was gay. I believe it was just my father was born in 1925. You can imagine, before the TV was built, my father was born. My father didn't get watch TV for the first time on what a TV looked like until he was about 10 to 11 years old, is what he told me. The way they watched TV was on a fucking radio. These old school, like fucking this is before World War II, World War II started. My father goes to the dirty bathrooms because it says colors, and the white's over there. You can't even imagine what type of environment and every place you go to in an education center, you're the only colored person at a fucking university. Can you imagine what that was probably finishing high school? Like, my father had that level of discipline and that level of pivoting through to get an education, then becoming a nurse, is such a brutal character of a person to try to pivot through that in life. Success, and made it through successfully. And, pays for his house, and it's just, that it's such a disrespectful thing. He's standing in front of the casket. Why do I keep hanging around? And the thing what makes it even worse is I wasn't ever trying to pull a fast one on Kenneth. I knew something was very dark and cynical and suspicious. That's something I understood, but I didn't know, and I overlooked it as maybe that's just his personal space of whatever, like, but I don't think it could be this dark and evil, because this person is infesting the emotions into Jillian and Frankie to later use it as a token, and it's a very detailed situation on how calculating this is. This is what's so disgusting and disturbing about it, because there's nothing more you could do more cowardly. A little kid being punched and raped, and you just walk away, and say fuck you. And then all the celebrities, Dana White, the MMA fighters, half the MMA fighters, there's no telling how many of them are homosexuals. There's no telling. They're just as tough. They get sex. However, they have these fake families. Still champions. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make a difference. It's just genetics and desire, wanting to be a champion or not. But to me, it's so harsh, because I wasn't ever trying to pull a fast one. I wasn't ever trying to fucking do something, trick, nothing, and I just couldn't. This is milking it. This is why when I'm getting my tattoo, they're wearing the sunglasses, like, oh yeah, I just such a lethal warrior of death, and the magnitude of Michael Jackson of sabotage. Because that's a token for the inside of the community, of the gay community, transgenders, protecting Michael Jackson, because I met him. And you don't understand that we had nothing to do with that. Like, I'm 16 years old. It's difficult. It's difficult. But, I spoke to Mr. Carrera. I really think he did a wonderful job, and I even though I don't agree necessarily with everything he says, I think he did a very good job, and I think he does believe in God very much, and I think he did a wonderful job, in my opinion. Nobody opens their doors like that and offers you something to drink and offers you something to eat like a church, Many people close the fucking doors on you. They don't want to open the doors and help you or hear your problems. I think he did a wonderful job. He has 2 kids that are in the military. He said that one of his daughters was in the military for 8 years. Is in the Army for 8 years. His son Jacob was in the Air Force, and he just finished his service, and now he's going to do some more years as a guard. Coast Guard, which is like he's on a boat, and so he gets. I didn't even know you can do that. I didn't know people can go from being a Coast Guard to a different service and just continue being in the service. You get well-rounded and experienced, and I can't even imagine how proud he is. That's royal. That's very royal of proud. But as far as I have to say with any of that, I think he just did a wonderful job. I don't want any people to get confused when I'm looking at his direction and filming the video. I'm not trying to confuse the situation, but I understand that he has to defend himself and has to be careful, with the situations, because everyone has their own desires. Nobody's perfect. You got to realize that. But, it's a tough circumstance. It's a tough circumstances because, for them to do that to my biological father and my father, you have no idea. This is, you got more Arabian people and people from Iran and Iraq and shit living in this country, living a good life, just kicking back, having a cold beer. Those are the people that are. You have people fucking. What's so? I don't have anything against. Obviously Frank is involved with Asians, but I know that there's a lot of Asian communities that wasn't in Carrollton before. Like, it almost kind of looks like Chinatown. Like, man, what the fuck happened here? And I didn't know they got this over here too. And it's only them. It's very tight niche. Mexican communities, it's a pretty broad. It's pretty broad in the world of Hispanics. So a lot of different people coming in, but. At least in my opinion, not as open as maybe like the Albertsons and stuff, and like Walmart, but you know, it's wild because, you know, you have these situations and coming at all different angles, and they're just, you know, who knows what they did to Frankie, you know, what they wanted to take and all this. But the time is running out. You got to understand, you're spending your time instead of doing other things you shouldn't. You know, my mother's body's decaying. My mother's losing her hair, like she's going bald. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know if my mother has extensions in her hair, that maybe she's a lot more bald than I think. Because I was looking at her hair and I was thinking, like, I think she may have extensions or something, make it look like she doesn't have as much as hair losing. And, you know, for a woman to lose her hair, that is the worst of circumstances, to do that to a woman. You know, my mother's body's decayed, how many children, and they just threw some twins saying, no, you don't need a husband or boyfriend anymore. We already gutted you out. You see, we did a blessing and gave you some twins, your own sisters. What a guttering fucking shithole. Like, this is so calculating, you know, and you know, that's a lottery ticket that, you know, I ride on that boat alone. You know, that one I ride alone with. Nobody understands that shit, what that does to a kid already. But, you know, I think that, you know, you know, it's a lot of brutality. You know, you know, you think about where your job, if none of this could have happened, where you'd be working at a full-time job, 8 hours a day with your life. But for me, I could work 8 hours a day. I could work, 10 hours a day, 8 hours to 40 hours a week, doing the same, you know, janitor, cleaning, or printing for the rest of my life. And because it goes by pretty fast, and sort of the routine behavior. And it's like an exchange. Well, since we made you allow you to retire and we gave you money, now this is an exchange to think we gave you something, because your life was shit already. Like, and you have all these people that were stealing money to begin with. But you know, the sense of emotions and things that get stripped from you are far deeper, more painful than stripping that you can understand. The pain is the mental destruction of what this does to your character and being as a person is so destructive that you cannot interpret or elaborate the own destructive behavior that it's actually done to you, as it's done to my mother and in me as well in a lot of cases. And that's why they did that. Oh, it's just, you know, I just take what I want, you know, just hip hop, you know. Oh, it's just Sarah, Spirit of Sarah. Oh, it's just, this one has, no, like, this is fucking, they did this because they knew they'd get the free ticket, they get the free coupon, and you feel sympathy. The celebrities have already established their grounds, the LBG all over the place. They have their own agendas. Paris Hilton, you know, don't let your sauce of your community, the whites, you start fucking shit up. You don't be the white blonde girls anymore. You have the Mexicans and, you know, whatever platform that is anymore. And then I'm the last spokesperson for the Mexicans, and what ethnicity I have for my mother. Here I am, I'm HIV positive. No, I'm HIV positive spokesman for Africa. That's what I am now. And oh no, it's for Michael Jackson. Oh no, it's for Jesus Christ. Okay, just throw them two right there. And it's just, oh, it's for the Hispanic. You scum the Hispanics so horrifically bad by doing that. Because if I start DJing and traveling and playing 100,000 people, you have to learn how to talk. You have to learn how to be respectful and as professional at all given times. You're gonna make a mishap here and there, but you always stay on this very healthy, kind, respectful, mental way of carrying through this sort of torch, through this delivering messages to people, and healthy ones, and doing this as a career, as a blessing, and as a gift, so that you can make a better place, and represent the United States. That you have extraordinary talents and be able to touch a lot of people in such brilliant ways to help it leave and inspire, but keep it grounded into the U.S. That is so shunned in an ingenious, super genius way of what they did to me and my mother. No, fuck you. You did this. Whatever the fuck these motherfuckers did, that's what it was. There's no changing that. You know, had I been fucking 25 years old, 30 years old, you know, I wouldn't have had a problem living, you know, doing that sort of honorary role, you know, very disciplinary, the best. You know, I'm a guy you want on your team and could guide others that were close to me doing the same career in brilliant ways to do the same. So you have a good dispatch of Army deliverances for the President and the U.S. and so many people that would like to do that and in brilliant ways, but they sabotage, they burn the shit to the ground. I don't know how to fucking say it, because, you know, obviously the World Trade Center, I'm connected to that shit. There's a lot of things you can attach to just make this a mega house, you know, and if I can figure this out and I don't have an education, I know somebody could have a long time ago, you know. This is not about greed. I would have thrown the best on my wagon to take with me, you know, a team that is paramount, is smart, very smart, strong, smart, intelligent, very strong, brilliant, just great brilliance. That's what you want. And but you know, I don't know what the circumstances is. But anyway, I gotta, you know, go to sleep and take a nap. Gotta make a delivery tomorrow. Figure out if I'm gonna go to Six Flags, go watch a baseball game. Hopefully, I got about like $100, no more to spend at all before I probably leave here the second week of August, maybe the third week or the latest third week of August. I still haven't. I'm pushing it to the extreme levels now. Like, I have to get to Rhode Island because I'm going to be on a waiting list, and that's going to take up to a year. I have to get there, and I have, you know, I was thinking of even going to, Hawaii, and I thought, well, if I go to Hawaii, it's $700 rent, and temperatures are not good. I already got my Southwestern Medical jacket I just bought. I like the winter, but you know, maybe it's great to get a finally complete GED in Hawaii, which is on a different island. It's Kauai or something like that. Those are really difficult words to pronounce. But Hawaii, to go there and get a GED, see what that. But those are brutal temperatures. It's pretty hot and warm there, and it's very tropical. And I went out there, and it was a lot of homeless people, but it's on a different island. You know, I'd have to find a place to live. But it's on the opposite side. But I've already been to Hawaii before. I'm not scared to go out there. But I thought, well, after I get this GED, it'd probably be better for me to be mobile, because I've never been to Rhode Island. It's a small place. When I get there, more job opportunities, more of a mixture of places. I can go watch the whales. I can maybe get some more possible boat jobs after a GED, quick boat jobs within moving distance. You know, I got to save up enough money, whether I'm going to be going from Rhode Island to Jerusalem from there, or to the Vatican, or go to Spain, or go from Dallas to Spain, or Dallas to Jerusalem. I had to figure that out. All that's going to cost a grip load of money. So I know that that's a possibility. There may be some other things I got to go, but the other than getting my GED is I have to go to, I can go to New York on a quick bus trip and go to, I know that I had the bone marrow transplant meetings where there's a lot of bone marrow transplant meeting, what do they call them, eating dinner or something. They get people to dress up, you know, you get all dressed up and give support for a charity, and you sit at a dinner table, listen to these people that have transplants and cancer, and how they helped and what their stories were like. I can't remember what they call them, seminars or whatever. But I figured I'd go there, maybe dress something nice, you know, go to a plastic this blood disease place, go there, have a good dinner, dress up, you know, nice, and just go to at least one of them, check them out, you know, hear other people's story and not feel so alone, you know, even though I'm HIV positive. get to hear other people, which I think it would still be good because it could let me go. It'll partially let me go and understand of what happened to me. You know, other than the plastic anemia, you know, this HIV shit. So, but I think it'd be really great to hear. I think it's a great decision. So, I was thinking of going to Pennsylvania. If somebody told me and said that it's a good idea and I should go to Pennsylvania to go look at 9/11 and then kind of close the doors on that too and not try to use it as a later coupon, then I would go do that. But I don't think necessarily at this point, and have for a long time, it's a good idea. One of the reasons I think that it would be better if I ever do go there, and which I eventually will, whether my family or not, is that I thought, well, if I ever have to go with my mother to the president's house or whatever it is, whatever happens, then I think that when I go there with my mother and her twins and Frankie and Julian to 9/11 Pennsylvania, what happened, it would be healthy to have that experience unknowingly for me, myself as well, with my family because of my father, and because it's a wooded area. Trees represent calmness, nature. It would be more of the better elements, you know. But I think that overall, in the healthy picture, I think it would be healthy for all of us. But if it's better for me to go, I'm not scared to go. You know, just go out there and get. But I don't want to be causing shit and trouble. That's the last. I'm not trying to cause trouble. So I need to focus on myself more and think. You know, Rhode Island GED, get a job. Got to make this money. Build on projects in the meantime and work. Get this GED and take the next step. Dallas and get some blessings and see what happens from there. I'm 42 years old by this time, so I got a lot of other shit that it's hard to accept that someone had not only did this to me, but took the ability for me to work out and all this other shit, but there must be other health situations why they did this to me. I've always been such a disciplined, fitted individual. You don't understand the way that I'm juggling a soccer ball and the sports that I played. That isn't because I was born with the physical body ability. No, it's called practice. Every fucking day, intensely in every activity that I do. That's why it wasn't put on a table. I had to work for that shit. It doesn't show up, oh, you're just born that way, just, you know, Kenneth is jealous for it. No. It's the practice and regimens that I'm doing. It just doesn't come because of kung fu a bit. No, it's the ability that you're just doing so much practice of athletic and different exercises and abilities for such a young age. You start really young so that you grow that way. It's not easy. You know, people don't have any idea how strict my regimens were when I was a kid. When I'm 14 years old, every time Richard is going with his dad, I know that every other weekend I have time to go visit Robert Zarate and other friends, and that's all I was fucking doing. And then there's some days that I wasn't during the week when Richard was at his mom's. Gotta go with some other friends, and I was building these huge, and then I'd go over to this friend, and I'd go to that friend's, hang out with him, see what's going on over there. It was such strict regimens that I was doing. And then at nighttime, I have to go visit my dad 3 weeks, and then I go practice DJing until like 12 o'clock at fucking night, you know. And then I gotta go to boot camp. You have no idea how hectic the schedule of what I was doing at a very young age. It's wild. It was not kicked back, not for me, it wasn't. But anyway, I gotta go to sleep and take a break. Maybe feel like watching a good movie.